In this video, I'll demonstrate how to use an Access database in ADO.NET. So to demonstrate how to do this with a simple example, I'm going to go to File, New, Project. I'm going to select Visual Basic Projects, Windows Application, and here I'm going to put ADO.NET Access and select OK. This will create a simple Windows Form application. Now the next thing that I want to do is copy my database that I created into my LVS projects folder for this new ADO.NET Access folder. And I'm just going to paste it in there. And now what I want to do in my Server Explorer is create a reference to it. So I'm going to hit Connect to Database. I'm going to go to Provider, and this is an important step. Select Microsoft Jet 4.0 OLE DB Provider, and then select the Next button. Now it'll ask me to specify a database name, and I'm going to click the ellipsis button. It brings open the dialog, and I'm going to select my database, LVS. Click Open. It automatically fills in some information. You shouldn't have to adjust this in most situations unless you've used password protected your database. Now I'm going to click the OK button. Test connection succeeded. Very good. You can adjust, if you wish, some of the advanced and all properties, but I am not going to touch those. So I'm just going to select OK. And notice in the Server Explorer now, you can see the Access database right with the SQL Server databases. So I'm going to expand this and look at all the tables and look at all the stored procedures, or rather all the queries that I've predefined. Now, I can see all the data in this view just like I can with SQL Server, and that's very cool. The exception is I can't look at the source code for the query like I would be able to do with the SQL Server stored procedure, but that's a little price to pay for the convenience of having it in the Server Explorer. So what I want to do right now is I'm going to pin my Server Explorer open. I'm going to shut down this Table tab, go back to my designer surface. I'm going to drag and drop the video table onto the designer. And when I do that, notice that it creates two objects for me, the connection and then the data adapter. Let's go ahead and get rid of this for now. I'm going to rename the connection. Let's get the properties window open. I selected F4 to do that. A trick from the VB3 days. And now I want to change the name of it to connection, or just con, and then change my data adapter's name to something friendly like DA. Okay, and then I want to configure my data adapter. This data adapter configuration wizard should look pretty similar to what you've seen in the past. There are a few small exceptions. First of all, it asks which data connection would you like the data adapter to use. It's already preset. Now I get the option to select SQL statements, or, well, you don't get an option to select anything else because you can't create stored procedures or use the existing stored procedures with the data adapter. So unfortunately, you're not going to be able to use the predefined queries that you've created in your Access database. However, you are able to go to this, the Generate SQL Statements, and use the Query Builder, which looks an awful lot like what Access gives you, and maybe even a little bit more. And you have all the functionality of the Query Builder. See one of the previous videos that we talked about the Query Builder in depth. And then obviously in the advanced options with optimistic concurrency, and also what type of statements you want to create in your data adapter. We won't touch those for now. We're going to go ahead and select everything from the video table. And notice that it created all of our statements for us for use within the data adapter. We'll go ahead and click Finish. We'll move the data adapter over a little bit, and then click Generate Dataset. And here we'll just call this DS, and we'll have one table added to the new data set. And we'll get our reference, which is DS1. So now what I want to do is drag and drop. Here, I'm going to get rid of the properties. And drag and drop a data grid. Let's see, where did it go here? I may have missed it. There we go. Data grid. I'm going to drag it onto my designer surface and resize it. Then I go back to properties. I'm going to first of all rename this to, and then I'm going to set data source be the DS1 video. In this case, I don't need to set data member because I've already selected the data source. So now what I need to do is go to my code behind and add one line of code, fill DS1, the name of our data set, and the table that we want to reference. I go ahead and save this, and with any luck, we did everything we needed to do. And here we go. We've just data bound to our Access database using the OLE DB data adapter to access the JET provider for the Access database. Now you might say, well, that's all well and good. You've just basically data bound. But what we've done, which is more important than that, is that we've created a connection in our Server Explorer. We were able to modify the contents of our tables through the Server Explorer like we can with SQL Server objects, which is pretty neat. We're able to drag and drop items from the Server Explorer onto our designer and have it create objects for us and even create a data set. And now that we have this populated data set, we can do anything we want to with it and save it back to the Access database sometime in the future. We can persist this data set down to XML. We can send it through a web service. We can display it in an ASP.NET web form. Whatever we want to do with it, it's exactly like any other data set that you create from any other data source. Now, for those of you that have been around since VB3, VB4, even VB6, can you imagine an easier way to do this than what I've just displayed here? There's a lot of convenience that comes with using .NET to redevelop some of your existing applications in a more .NET-friendly, dataset-friendly sort of way. In future videos, I'll demonstrate some other techniques that you can use when dealing specifically with Access databases. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.